Did you know that what you put in the fridge, yet same fridge you open a dozen times a day, could actually be harming your health without you realizing it? For most of us, the refrigerator is a symbol of safety. We grew up learning that cold equals clean, that if something goes into the fridge, it lasts longer. But as it turns out, that's not always true, especially for seniors. And the more we learn, the more we realize some of our habits need to change. Every year, nearly 48 million Americans get sick from foodborne illnesses. Thousands die, and many of them are older adults. The reason is simple. As we age, our immune system weakens, our digestion slows, and our bodies can't bounce back the way they used to. What used to be a mild stomach bug at 40 could send someone to the hospital at 75. And what's even more shocking is that many of these illnesses don't come from eating at shady restaurants. They begin at home, in the refrigerator. In today's video, we're diving into 10 common foods that seem safe to refrigerate, but actually become risky, less nutritious, or even toxic for seniors when stored cold. And more importantly, I'll tell you what to do instead so you can protect your health or the health of someone you love. If you're new here, welcome. This is Elder Soul Journal, a place for reflection, honesty, and practical wisdom to help us age with grace, strength, and clarity. If you find this video helpful, please take a moment to like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you never miss another gentle reminder or health tip. Let's get into it. 1. Tomatoes. Let's start with something that probably lives in your fridge right now. Tomatoes. Juicy, red, comforting. A sandwich staple. A pasta must-have. But if you've been storing them cold, you're quietly robbing them and yourself of flavor, nutrients, and even health benefits. You see, tomatoes are sensitive to the cold. When refrigerated, the enzymes that give them their taste and texture start to shut down. They become mealy, bland, and watery. That may sound like a culinary issue, but it's more than that. A bland tomato is often one that's losing its vitamin C and antioxidants, especially lycopene, a compound known to reduce inflammation and support prostate and heart health. For seniors managing high blood pressure, cholesterol, or simply trying to stay sharp mentally, lycopene is gold, but refrigeration breaks it down. The fix? Keep tomatoes on the counter out of direct sunlight. Let them ripen naturally. If they're starting to get soft, use them within a day or two. Taste will return, texture will hold, and the nutrients will stay where they belong, working for your body. 2. Bread. Now I know what you're thinking, but I put bread in the fridge so it lasts longer. Yes, you do. And yes, it does last longer, but at what cost? Here's what many don't know. Refrigeration actually speeds up a process called starch retrogradation. That's a fancy way of saying your bread goes stale, not moldy, just dry, tough, and flavorless. And for older adults with dental issues, dry bread isn't just a nuisance, it's a choking hazard. But there's another layer to this. Cold, dry bread is harder to chew, harder to digest, and less enjoyable to eat. For seniors who may already be dealing with reduced appetite or gastrointestinal sensitivity, that's a big deal. So what's the better choice? Keep a few slices or a small loaf at room temperature, what you'll use within 3 days. For the rest, freeze it. Bread freezes beautifully and toasts up fresh. That way, you preserve texture and avoid waste, all while keeping your meals safe and enjoyable. Number 3. Canned tuna. Canned tuna feels like a safe bet. Long shelf life, affordable, packed with protein and omega-3s. It's a pantry staple that many seniors rely on for quick meals. But here's the thing few people talk about. You should never store unopened canned tuna in the fridge. When metal cans are exposed to constant cold, especially in a damp environment like a refrigerator, condensation begins to form on the outer and eventually the inner surfaces. That moisture can weaken the can's lining and promote rust. Over time, this can compromise the seal, allowing air and bacteria to sneak in. And the worst part? You won't smell anything wrong. You won't see a dent. But the next time you open that can, you may be inviting harmful bacteria straight onto your plate. As we age, our immune systems become less responsive. What a younger person might brush off as a bad can could lead to serious foodborne illness for an older adult. Hospital level serious. So what's the safer route? Keep unopened tuna cans in a dry, dark pantry. Once opened, yes, refrigerate the contents in a clean, sealed glass container, but never ever keep the unopened can cold. It's a small shift with a big payoff. 4. Potatoes. This one surprises a lot of people. Storing raw potatoes in the fridge might seem like a smart move, but it actually causes the starch to convert into sugar. And that's not just a taste issue. When you later cook those sugar-loaded potatoes, especially by roasting or frying, a chemical called acrylamide forms. Now, acrylamide has been linked to nerve damage and increased cancer risk. And while one meal won't hurt you, regular exposure, especially in older adults with reduced detox capacity, is something we should be mindful of. Instead, store your potatoes in a cool, dry pantry, ideally in a paper bag or breathable basket. Keep them away from onions, which release moisture and gas that can make potatoes sprout or rot. Trust me, your mashed potatoes will taste better, and your body will thank you quietly and over time. If you got to this point, don't forget to like and subscribe. 5. Honey. Here's one a lot of people get wrong. Honey does not belong in the fridge. It's a natural preservative. In fact, archaeologists found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that were still edible, because honey, when stored properly, never spoils. When you refrigerate honey, it crystallizes faster. That grainy, thick texture isn't harmful, but it makes honey harder to use and less appealing. For seniors with hand stiffness or arthritis, trying to scoop or stir crystallized honey can be frustrating and even lead to spills or accidents in the kitchen. So where should you keep it? In a sealed jar, in a cupboard. That's it. Room temp preserves both the smooth texture and the beneficial compounds honey naturally carries, like antioxidants and antibacterial properties. Plus, it's much easier to drizzle into tea or spread on toast. 6. Coffee, ground or beans. You might be keeping your coffee in the fridge to keep it fresh, but it's actually doing the opposite. Coffee is extremely absorbent. It soaks up moisture, odors, and flavors from nearby foods. And in the humid environment of a refrigerator, that means your morning brew might start tasting like onions, garlic, or whatever leftovers are in the back corner. Not only does this affect taste, but moisture degrades the natural oils in coffee. That means you're losing the antioxidants and compounds that give coffee its anti-inflammatory edge, a benefit especially important for aging brains and joints. The fix? Store your coffee in an airtight container in a dark, cool cabinet, away from heat, away from the fridge. You'll notice the difference not just in taste, but in how your body responds to a gentler, cleaner cup. 7. Avocados. Here's a tricky one. Should you refrigerate avocados? The answer, it depends on when you plan to eat them. If your avocado is unripe, putting it in the fridge will stop the ripening process. It'll stay hard for weeks, and then, once you finally remember it, it'll be brown and unusable inside. But letting it ripen on the counter, then moving it to the fridge once it's ripe, that's the key. For seniors trying to boost healthy fats, potassium, and brain-supporting nutrients, avocado is a wonderful food, but not if it's turned into a gray, flavorless paste by poor storage. Let it soften on the counter, then pop it into the fridge for 2 to 3 days max once it's ready. And if you only use half, leave the pit in the unused side, add a squeeze of lemon, and wrap it tightly. That'll slow the browning. 8. Fresh basil, a delicate herb that needs to breathe. There's something sacred about fresh basil. Its aroma stirs up memories. Maybe a tomato stew from years past, or a favorite pasta dish made with love. For seniors, herbs like basil aren't just flavor, they're tradition, memory, even therapy. But basil is a fragile plant. It doesn't respond well to cold. In fact, putting fresh basil in the fridge is one of the fastest ways to kill both its flavor and its nutritional value. Within hours, the cold air causes the leaves to darken, wilt, and lose their essential oils. The very oils that offer anti-inflammatory benefits and can help lower stress hormones and even support cognitive function. By the time you pull it out of the fridge, basil has already lost most of its healing potential. It's not just the science, it's the emotion. Opening the fridge and finding your once beautiful basil black and sad, it's disheartening, especially when food is meant to lift your spirit. The better way? Treat your basil like a bouquet. Place the stems in a glass of water on the counter and loosely cover the leaves with a plastic bag. It will stay fresh for days, full of vitality and joy, just the way you remembered it. Number 9. Whole melons. Cold storage. Steals the sweetness. Few fruits feel more refreshing on a hot afternoon than a slice of melon. Watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew. Chilled and sweet, served from the fridge. But what most people don't realize is this: you should never refrigerate whole melons before cutting them. The outer rind protects melons while they ripen, and during this time, important antioxidants like beta-carotene are still developing inside the flesh. When you put that whole melon in the fridge too early, you interrupt this process. The result? Less flavor, less nutrition, less benefit. For seniors especially, those antioxidants matter. They support eye health, immune strength, and help fight cell damage. And yet, we lose much of that by cooling the fruit too soon. Worse, refrigerators with high humidity can cause moisture to collect on the rind. And if the melon has even the tiniest crack, bacteria can enter unnoticed and start growing silently. The smarter move? Let whole melons ripen at room temperature on the counter. Once cut, store the slices in the fridge in a tightly sealed container. You get the best of both worlds: safe, cool, and full of the nutrients your body still needs. 10. Garlic. Let's end with a kitchen hero, garlic. Powerful, pungent, and medicinal, garlic lowers blood pressure, fights inflammation, and even supports immune function. But storing it in the fridge is the fastest way to ruin it. Cold temperatures introduce moisture. Moisture leads to sprouting or mold, and sprouted garlic, bitter, rubbery, and far less potent. Not to mention unsafe if left too long. The better choice is to keep garlic bulbs whole, unpeeled, in a mesh basket or ceramic container with ventilation. Cool, dark, dry. The old-fashioned way. Fresh garlic stored right still packs all the punch and benefits it should. That's what your body deserves. You know, it's funny. We think the refrigerator is always helping us, but sometimes it's quietly getting in the way of our health. And as we get older, we don't always feel the effects right away. But we do feel them. In the bloating, the fatigue, the inflammation that won't go away, the food that just doesn't taste like it used to. But here's the good news. You don't need a new kitchen or fancy appliances to protect your body. You just need knowledge, a little awareness, and a willingness to shift a few habits. If you're still watching, thank you. That means you care. You care about the little things. And when it comes to health in our later years, the little things often make the biggest difference. So take a moment today. Look in your fridge, rearrange a few things. Maybe share one of these tips with a friend, a neighbor, or someone you love. And if this video gave you even one new insight, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with the food that surprised you most, and hit the like button so we know you're out there. It's never too late to take better care of yourself. And sometimes, it starts with something as simple as where you keep your tomatoes.